The rifle's recoil slammed into my shoulder like a betrayal, the shot echoing through the dense Pennsylvania woods as the deer crumpled to the ground, its eyes glazing over in an instant of finality. I stood frozen, the metallic tang of gunpowder mixing with the earthy scent of fallen leaves, my hands trembling not from the cold November air but from the realization that I'd just taken a life, something I'd sworn I'd never do. Jordan, my mom's best friend since college, lowered her own gun and turned to me with a look that pierced deeper than any bullet, her voice steady as she said, "Alex, that wasn't just a hunt. It's time you knew the truth about who you really are. And why I've been watching over you all these years." I dropped the rifle, my knees buckling as I sank onto the damp forest floor, the world spinning around me. Jordan knelt beside me, her hand on my back, but I shrugged it off, my mind racing back through the fragments of my life. The awkward high school crushes on girls I'd buried deep, the family dinners where mom's conservative rants about traditional values made me shrink inside, and the way Jordan had always been there, a quiet observer with eyes that seemed to see too much. "What truth?" I whispered, my voice cracking, but she just sighed, her face etched with a mix of regret and resolve, as if she'd been carrying this weight for far too long. We'd driven out here at dawn, Jordan insisting it was a bonding trip, to get me away from the suffocating atmosphere at home in suburban Philadelphia. Mom had encouraged it, saying Jordan could teach me some real-world skills, since I'd been floundering after dropping out of college last year. My graphic design dream stalled by a fog of depression I couldn't explain. But now, with the deer's blood staining the leaves, everything felt like a setup. Jordan helped me up, her grip firm, and we trudged back to the cabin she'd rented, the silence between us thick with unspoken accusations. Inside, by the crackling fire, she poured us coffee laced with whiskey, her hand steady while mine shook. "Your mom and I, we were more than friends back in college," she began, her words dropping like stones into still water. "We were lovers. But she chose the safe path, marriage, kids, the whole American dream facade. And when you were born, she made me promise to keep our past buried." My heart pounded as fragments clicked into place. The old photos Mom had hidden away, the way she'd tense up whenever Jordan visited, dismissing her as just an old roommate. I'd always sensed something off, but I chalked it up to my own insecurities, my growing realization that boys didn't stir anything in me the way girls did. Jordan continued, her voice low. "But that's not all. When you were 15, I caught you kissing that girl from your soccer team in the backyard. You didn't see me, but I did. And I told your mom, thinking she'd support you like she should have supported us. Instead, she panicked, swore me to secrecy, and started pushing you toward normal things. Dates with boys, church youth groups. She thought she could pray it away." The room spun. Betrayal burned in my chest. Mom knew? All those years of her lectures about family values, her disappointment in my phase of avoiding relationships, it wasn't ignorance, it was denial. I stood up, pacing the wooden floor, my mind a whirlwind of anger and hurt. Why tell me now? Why drag me out here to kill something just to drop this bomb? Jordan's eyes met mine, unflinching. "Because you're drowning, Alex. I see it the same way I saw it in your mom before she chose to hide. And I can't watch another woman I care about destroy herself for society's sake." Care about? The word hung there, charged, but I pushed it aside, storming out into the twilight, the cold air slapping my face as I grappled with the fracture lines cracking through my world. That night, sleep evaded me in the cabin's spare room, my thoughts looping back to childhood memories now tainted. Mom's insistence on feminine dresses for family photos, her subtle steering away from tomboy activities after that soccer incident I barely remembered. Jordan had been the cool aunt figure, always slipping me books on strong women, encouraging my art without judgment. Was it all a covert operation to protect me, or to atone for her own regrets? By morning, the tension was palpable over breakfast. "We need to talk about what this means for you," Jordan said, sliding a plate of eggs my way. But I wasn't ready. I grabbed my keys, muttering about needing space, and drove the 2 hours back home, the highway blurring through unshed tears. Pulling into our driveway, the familiar colonial house looked like a prison. Mom was in the kitchen, baking as usual, her apron dusted with flour. "Back so soon? How was the hunt?" she asked, her smile too bright. I slammed the door, the words exploding out. "Why didn't you tell me? About you and Jordan? About me?" Her face paled, the mixing bowl clattering to the counter. "What has she done?" she whispered, but I saw the guilt in her eyes, the confirmation. We argued for hours, voices rising until Dad came home early from work, confused and demanding explanations. Mom broke down, admitting fragments of her past, but framing it as a youthful mistake she'd overcome for our family's sake. Dad stormed out, the door slamming like a gunshot, leaving us in shattered silence. As night fell, I retreated to my room, texting Jordan. "You blew up my life." "Why?" Her reply came swiftly. "Because hiding costs more than facing it. Come back, we're not done." I stared at the screen, the pull toward her warring with the chaos she'd unleashed. Little did I know this was just the beginning of the unraveling, where loyalties would shift, and the price of truth would demand everything. The next morning I packed a bag and drove back to the cabin, the Pennsylvania Turnpike a monotonous stretch that mirrored my numb state. Jordan was waiting on the porch, her posture straight but her eyes shadowed with worry. "I didn't expect you back so soon," she said, stepping aside as I entered. The air inside still smelled of wood smoke and regret. We sat at the kitchen table, the rifle propped in the corner like a silent witness. "Tell me everything," I demanded, my voice steadier than I felt. Jordan nodded, pouring fresh coffee, and began unraveling the threads of a story that spanned decades. It started in the 90s at Penn State, where she and Mom met in a women's studies class. What began as friendship blossomed into passion, hidden in dorm rooms and late-night drives. But Mom's family, strict Catholics from rural Ohio, loomed large, their expectations a noose. When graduation approached, Mom chose security, marrying Dad, a kind but conventional engineer she dated on and off. Jordan, heartbroken, moved to New York for a teaching job, but they stayed in touch, the secret binding them like a scar. "When you were born," Jordan said, "your mom called me in tears, saying you were her fresh start. But as you grew, she saw echoes of us in you. Your independence, your quiet crushes. It terrified her." I listened, piecing together my own timeline. The summer camps where I'd felt out of place among giggling girls talking boys. The college parties where I'd feigned interest in guys to fit in. Jordan had visited often, especially after her divorce from a brief, ill-fated marriage to a man she described as a cover story. "I promised your mom I'd never interfere," she continued. "But watching you struggle, it ate at me. Last year when you dropped out, I knew it was time. The hunt was symbolic, facing what's raw and real, no hiding." "Symbolic?" Anger flared again. "You used me as some metaphor for your lost love? What about my life?" Jordan leaned forward, her hand reaching for mine but stopping short. "It's not just about the past, Alex. It's about you. I've seen how you look at women, how you looked at me yesterday. Denying it will destroy you, like it almost did your mom." Her words hit like a punch, stirring something I'd long suppressed. A flicker of attraction toward her, mixed with confusion. But I pulled back, standing abruptly. "This is too much. I need air." We hiked the trails that afternoon, the crunch of leaves underfoot punctuating our tense conversation. Jordan shared stories of her own coming out in her 30s, the friends lost, the career stalled by whispers in academia. "Society's better now," she said. "But not for everyone. Your mom's world, church, suburbs, it's a cage." I thought of Dad's bewildered face last night, Mom's sobs echoing in my ears. By evening, back at the cabin, exhaustion set in. We cooked dinner in silence, the clink of utensils a fragile piece. But as we ate, Jordan's phone buzzed, Mom demanding she fix this mess. Jordan put it on speaker, Mom's voice hysterical. "You had no right. Alex isn't like that, like us." I snatched the phone. "Like us? You mean gay, Mom? Say it." The call devolved into shouts, accusations flying. Mom blamed Jordan for corrupting me. Jordan countered with years of suppressed truth. I hung up, my head throbbing. That night, lying awake, I replayed it all, the weight of their history pressing on me. Was I just a pawn in their unresolved drama? The next day, Dad called, his voice strained. "Your mom's a wreck. Come home, we'll talk as a family." But Jordan urged caution. "Rushing back means burying it again. Stay, figure out your path." I chose to stay, and over the next few days, the cabin became a confessional. Jordan opened up about her regrets. Not fighting harder for Mom, settling for scraps of friendship. In turn, I admitted my fears. Losing my family, facing judgment in our tight-knit community. One evening, as rain pattered on the roof, our conversation turned personal. "Have you ever acted on it?" she asked gently. I shook my head, describing failed dates with men, the emptiness that followed. Her empathy felt like a lifeline, but it blurred lines, her touch on my arm lingering, her gaze intense. Was this mentorship or something more? The thought scared me, yet intrigued. Tension built when Mom showed up unannounced, banging on the door in the pouring rain. "Alex, get in the car, we're leaving," she yelled. Jordan blocked her path. "She's an adult, Sarah. Let her choose." The confrontation escalated, Mom revealing she'd known about my tendencies since that backyard kiss, but prayed it'd pass. "I did it to protect you," she cried. I stood between them, torn. Loyalty to Mom's sacrifices versus Jordan's unflinching honesty. In the end, I asked Mom to leave, the door closing on her tear-streaked face, a decision that cut deep. As she drove away, Jordan hugged me, her warmth a comfort laced with complication. The price of truth was rising, and I wondered if I could afford it. Days blurred into a fragile routine at the cabin. Mornings hiking to clear my head, afternoons sketching in my notebook, portraits of Jordan that captured her quiet intensity. She taught English at a local community college, but had taken leave for this retreat, as she called it. Our talks deepened, peeling back layers of societal pressure. "America preaches freedom," she said one afternoon by the lake, skipping stones. "But for women like us, it's conditional. Your mom's proof, successful career, loving husband, but hollow inside." I nodded, thinking of Mom's perfect facade. PTA meetings, church committees, all masking her buried self. But cracks appeared in my resolve. Texts from Dad pleaded for reconciliation. "Your mom's not eating. We miss you." Guilt gnawed at me, amplified by Jordan's growing closeness. One evening as we watched the sunset, her hand brushed mine, sending a spark I couldn't ignore. What if this is more than guidance? I thought, but voiced nothing, fearing the fallout. That night, a call from an old friend, Mia, pulled me back to reality. "Your mom's telling everyone you're having a breakdown," she said. "People are talking about you and Jordan." Rumors spread like wildfire in our suburb, twisting truth into scandal. Confronting Jordan, I demanded, "Is this why you brought me here? To relive your past through me?" Her face crumpled. "No, Alex. I care about you as you are. But yes, seeing your struggle mirrors mine. I want better for you." Her vulnerability disarmed me, but doubt lingered. The next day, I drove into town for supplies, stopping at a cafe where Wi-Fi connected me to the world. Emails from college friends expressed concern. A voicemail from Mom begged forgiveness but insisted I come home and forget this nonsense. Overwhelmed, I returned to find Jordan packing. "Maybe I overstepped," she admitted. "Go back if that's what you need." But leaving felt like surrender. We argued, voices echoing off the walls. Me accusing her of manipulation, her defending her intentions as protective. In the heat, she confessed, "I fell for you years ago, watching you grow into this strong, beautiful woman. But I buried it like everything else." The admission hung heavy, stirring reciprocal feelings I denied. We didn't act on it, boundaries held by the chaos around us, but the air crackled with possibility. That night, a storm knocked out power, forcing us closer by candlelight. Stories flowed. Her failed marriage, my aborted college romance with a female roommate I dismissed as experimentation. Morning brought clarity and crisis. Dad arrived unannounced, his truck crunching gravel. "Enough of this," he said, eyes hard. "Alex, your mom's in the hospital, stress-induced panic attack. She needs you." The news hit like a gut punch. Jordan urged me to go but warned, "Don't let them erase you." I left with Dad, the drive silent save for his gruff questions about what's really going on. At the hospital, Mom looked frail in her bed, dripping. "I was wrong to hide," she whispered, gripping my hand. "But Jordan, she's using you to get back at me." Doubt seeded anew. Was Jordan's affection genuine or revenge? Discharged, we returned home, the house tense with unspoken accusations. Dad suggested family therapy, but Mom resisted, clinging to denial. I texted Jordan, Mom's okay, but everything's messed up. Her reply. Come back when you're ready. I'll wait. Days passed in limbo, me avoiding deep talks, focusing on mundane tasks. But at night, memories of the cabin haunted me, the freedom, the connection. A neighborhood gathering amplified the pressure. Whispers about that woman influencing Alex. Judgmental stares from church friends. Mom confronted me privately. Choose Alex, us or her. The ultimatum forced a decision, one that would cost dearly. Sneaking out one dawn, I drove back to Jordan, heart racing. She welcomed me without judgment, but our reunion was short-lived. Mom's call followed. If you stay, you're cut off. No more support, no family. The betrayal stung, but so did the liberation. As we sat by the fire, Jordan's hand in mine, I realized the true conflict. Not just identity, but allegiance. The price? My family's love, perhaps forever. Weeks turned the cabin into a sanctuary, but isolation bred its own storms. Jordan and I navigated tentative steps toward romance. Shared meals, lingering touches, conversations that bared souls without crossing into the physical, honoring the emotional rawness. We're building on truth, she said, her fingers tracing patterns on my palm. But external pressures mounted. Dad's emails escalated from pleas to threats. Think about your future. No job, no degree. Come home. Mom, recovering, rallied allies. Relatives calling with concern. Painting Jordan as a predator exploiting my vulnerability. One afternoon, a knock shattered our peace. A police officer summoned by Mom's welfare check. Just ensuring you're here voluntarily, ma'am, he said, eyeing us suspiciously. Humiliation burned as Jordan explained, but the incident underscored the societal backlash. See what they do, she fumed after he left. Weaponize the system against us. I nodded, but fear crept in. Was I ready for this fight? That evening I confided my doubts. What if Mom's right? What if this is a mistake? Jordan's hurt was palpable. Then go. But no, it's your choice, not theirs. Torn, I called Mia for perspective. Your mom's manipulating, she said. But Jordan's older, make sure it's equal. The advice lingered, highlighting the age gap's imbalance. Confronting Jordan, I questioned her motives anew. Is this love or atonement? She paused, eyes welling. Both, maybe. I regret not saving your mom, but with you. It's real. Her honesty swayed me, but the next day brought betrayal. Rifling through her things for a charger, I found old letters from Mom, post-college pleas for Jordan to stay away, laced with lingering affection. Jealousy flared. Was I a substitute? The argument exploded. Me accusing her of unresolved feelings, her denying but admitting the past shadow. I chose to move on. You're my future, she insisted. We separated for the night, me in the spare room wrestling inner demons. Morning brought reconciliation, but fragility remained. Venturing into town for groceries, stares followed, whispers of that lesbian couple, from locals who'd heard via social media leaks. Back home, a voicemail from Dad. Your mom's filing for divorce. She blames you and Jordan. The news devastated me. My choices ripping apart my family. Guilt propelled me homeward. Arriving, the house felt like a war zone. Boxes packed, Dad on the couch, Mom upstairs. You did this, Dad said flatly, pushing her to confront what she buried. Upstairs, Mom confessed through tears. Seeing you with her. It reopened everything. I can't pretend anymore. Her admission shifted blame. My awakening had forced hers. But she begged me to stay, promising acceptance if I left Jordan. She's toxic, using our history against us. The offer tempted, a path to mend fences, but at what cost? I refused, driving back through tears. Jordan waited, but our embrace felt strained. We can't hide forever, I said. She agreed, suggesting we relocate to New York, her old stomping grounds, for a fresh start. The idea thrilled and terrified, leaving roots for uncertainty. As we planned, Mom's final blow came. A letter disowning me, citing moral corruption. The pain was visceral, but it crystallized my resolve. With Jordan I felt seen, with family erased. The trade-off? Security for authenticity, a price I'd pay, but not without scars. Months later, in a cramped Brooklyn apartment, the city buzz thrummed outside as Jordan and I built a life amid the chaos. I enrolled in art classes, waitressing to pay bills while she resumed teaching. Our relationship deepened slowly. Kisses stolen in parks, nights discussing dreams, but shadows lingered. Letters from Dad arrived sporadically, neutral updates hinting at reconciliation, but Mom remained silent, her absence a gaping wound. Give her time, Jordan advised, but I wondered if time healed or hardened. A gallery opening for my sketches brought confrontation. Mia attended, pulling me aside. Your mom's spiraling therapy but blaming Jordan. Is this worth it? Doubt resurfaced, amplified by a chance encounter with an old family friend who shunned me. Society's judgment hit hard. Job rejections after background checks revealed the scandal. Friends drifting away. Jordan faced backlash too. Colleagues questioning her ethics, whispers of grooming. We're pariahs, I vented one night. She held me. But we're free. Freedom's cost peaked when Dad called. Mom's moving to Ohio, starting over. She wants to see you one last time. The invitation tugged at heartstrings. Jordan encouraged it. Closure matters. Flying out, the reunion was tense. Mom at a cafe looking aged. I was wrong, she admitted. But Jordan. She betrayed our pact. Revelations poured. Jordan had pursued Mom post-marriage, letters begging reunion. She never let go, Mom said. Shocked, I confronted the timeline. Jordan's moving on a lie? Back in New York, I demanded truth. Jordan confessed. Yes, I reached out years ago, grief-stricken. But it ended before you were aware. Betrayal cut deep. Was our bond built on deception? We argued fiercely, me packing to leave, her pleading. I chose you over the past. But trust fractured. Staying with Mia, I reflected, actions, decisions, prices paid. Mom's denial cost her marriage. Jordan's secrets, our future. My choices, family ties. Weeks of soul-searching led to awakening. Forgiveness wasn't absolution but release. I returned to Jordan, boundaries redrawn. We start honest, I said. She agreed and slowly we rebuilt. Mom reached out tentatively, bridges mending inch by inch. Society's prejudices persisted, but resilience grew. In the end, the hunt's echo faded, replaced by hard-won peace. Was choosing love over family the right path? Or a selfish mistake?